07/2020. It is 6:30 or 18:30 for some. City Clerk, if you could do our roll call, please.
Mayor Valdez.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Malin.
Here.
Councilmember Elrod.
Here.
Councilmember Driscoll.
Here.
Councilmember Fay.
Here.
Councilmember Grove.
Here.
Councilmember Milliman.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Great, we do. Thank you very much. I would like to have ask the city, the assistant to the city manager, if she could go ahead and state how this meeting will be conducted.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, members of council, staff, citizens, and guests. I'm Sama Fox, assistant to the city manager, and I'll be serving as the moderator for this evening's virtual council meeting. We are streaming this meeting on cable channel 8, Facebook, and on our website, littletongov.org. The agenda will be handled by Mayor Valdez in the same way it would be handled for a regular in-person meeting. As always, citizen participation is encouraged during public comment and public hearings. To participate via phone, please call 669-900-6833. And when prompted, enter the webinar ID 373-097-086. There will be 2 opportunities for citizen and public participation this evening, once during public comment and again during ordinances on second reading and public hearings. Microphones will be muted for all citizens calling in. Citizens can press *9 to raise their hand and be recognized. Speakers will have 3 minutes to address council. The city clerk will announce when you have 30 seconds remaining and again when your time is up. We expect comments to be civil. Disrespectful or disruptive behavior will not be tolerated. For agenda items, Mayor Valdez will ask for a motion and a second, followed by discussion and vote. Council will vote on agenda items using a thumbs up for a yes vote and a thumbs down for a no vote. The clerk will call each vote with all ayes and nays.
Great. Thank you very much. And for voting council, just for a reminder of the council folks, this will be our yes, this will be a no. And if you can, make it clear for our city clerk that she'll be able to read them for us. So thank you very much. All right, cool. Do we have any changes, council? Do we have any changes to the agenda? Seeing none, the agenda is approved. Let's go on into comments or reports. City manager.
Yes,
City manager.
Mayor, and good evening, council and citizens of Littleton. A lot has happened here in this past month, and so I'd like to take an opportunity to kind of reflect a little bit on that and share some information here about where I believe our city, our community is probably heading here in the very near term. So I prepared a few remarks here, so just please bear with me here. The past few weeks have certainly changed all of our lives. It may be difficult for us to see today, but I believe our country will be changed and perhaps permanently. In what seems like yesterday, we were talking about a community vision, the ambitious plans to implement that vision. Our future was bright and exciting. Now, much of that is in question. We continue to battle the pandemic with a peak expected by the middle of the month, and our governor extending the stay-at-home order until April 26th. In support of that decision, city facilities remain closed to the general public, and all of us hope for a speedy conclusion to this pandemic. I'm very proud of the staff throughout the organization for the past few weeks. I have countless stories of dedication and service to our community through this crisis. They include how our building department made changes in how they perform inspections and keep critical construction advancing, and at the same time maintaining social distancing. I'm very proud of our Public Works Department for continuing to plow the snow, patch our streets, and advancing construction for the safety of our residents. Our Economic Development Department for quickly pivoting our work to focus on assistance with state and federal programs for the impacted businesses in our community. I'm proud of our dedicated police department with not just the regular responsibilities, but their direct participation with state and county emergency management operations. I can assure our community, all departments are finding ways to remain in service to our community. How we communicate and connect with our community is certainly a challenge in the social distancing environment, but it is critical to our success in overcoming the immediate threat, the pursuit of our economic recovery, and our long-term strategies to return to some level of normalcy. To that end, I recommend all citizens to frequently access the city's webpage, social media accounts, eConnect, and future Littleton reports to stay informed of the latest information. Our business community is reeling from this pandemic and searching for lifelines to remain in business. Our federal and state governments have taken action, and our city will continue to assist those in need and help them connect to those financial resources. However, there's only so much a city our size can provide. The city of Littleton, like most cities in the state, rely upon sales tax to fund much of our operations and provide the services and programs our citizens require. As the fortune of our businesses go, so goes the fortune of our city. Based upon very preliminary information, we are planning for a loss of about 25% in sales tax for this year. We will not have definitive data until the first week of May, but we cannot wait until then to develop a plan or put it into action. Lack of action will put this city at great financial risk. As of this date, I've taken the following action. Postponed indefinitely all salary increases for the year. Frozen hiring of all personnel with limited exceptions for critical and essential positions. Frozen all travel, training, and education. Frozen approximately 1.1 million in general fund projects and services. Frozen capital construction projects until further review on the longer-term financial commitments. All of these actions will not likely be enough to manage this projected loss of sales tax. Staff has been working on a series of alternatives to meet the challenge and will be ready for a series of phased steps of implementation beginning the first week of May, when we will have more complete data to understand the magnitude of this problem. All options are being considered, including reductions in services and programs and the reduction of staff. The latter includes layoffs and furloughs. We are also using priority-based budgeting as a guide to start a discussion internally with what has been identified as a lower priority programs and services. There must be a balance struck between a reduction in expenditures over time against what may be a rapidly changing local economy. Either an economy that recovers quickly and/or an economy that slips into a national recession. And for that reason, our city will have to review sales tax receipt each month for several months until we see a sustained pattern. With each month, additional phases may have to be implemented as conditions warrant. As the city manager, I am responsible for operations. Over the next few months, the operational changes I will make will be necessary and in many cases unpopular. I know what needs to be done to protect the financial integrity of this organization. I have been in similar situations in the past, and I will not hesitate to act. Later this fall and the summer, hopefully, when we have a better understanding of the financial status of this organization, it will be council's turn to pick up the pieces of this pandemic and reset the direction for our community. This is not what we had planned just a few short weeks ago, but it is now what our community requires. Much of what I just shared, council, I know that I shared with each of you individually a little more detail. I think it was important this evening to kind of reflect and kind of state maybe the obvious, that our community is going to be challenged here in the coming months. Our reality, certainly we do not know at this point. I think data is going to be rolling in here probably towards the end of April, but it is really the first week of May when we'll have a much better idea of what we will have to do to kind of balance the impacts of this pandemic. I would also share that, I've had lots of conversations with my peers across the state, and we all face kind of the same challenge here. And the lack of information really is not going to be apparent for all of us again until that first week of May. So I am here this evening just to kind of share with the public much of that conversation we've been having, and that we have scheduled here the meeting here of April 14th at a study session where we can share with council maybe a little bit more background and have a little more conversation with council. Then we have on May 12th, we have another study session with City Council for us to really review the information, review the data of the sales tax, and then discuss kind of the steps going forward. And so, Mayor, that is my report here for this evening.
Thank you very much, Mark, and thank you for your leadership that you're showing for the city, and thank you for the leadership you're showing with the city staff, and I really appreciate the city staff, and hopefully their families will all be healthy. City Attorney.
No report from the City Attorney's Office.
Okay, thank you very much. Council, we'll go ahead and we'll do our council reports, and we'll start with Councilmember Elrod, and then we'll go to council members Driscoll, Fay, Grove, Milliman, then Mayor Pro Tem Millen. So Councilmember Elrod.
Thanks, Jerry. So for the Littleton Arts and Culture Commission, as well as the Fine Arts Board, those are two boards that have not met yet since the COVID-19 scenario. So we are regrouping with Tim to determine way forward on how to meet and how to potentially change our work plan on that. Second, I did attend the Dr. Cog study session. A couple of things going on in Dr. Cog. They, like us, quickly jumped on board, conducted online meetings, and that went very well. Two things there. One is the Regional Vision Zero program that they are implementing. It's for multimodal safety improvements. There's $26 million available in Region 1. We are in Region 1. The minimum grant amount is $250,000 and the maximum grant amount is $15 million. There is a required local match of 20%. So the important thing here is this is yet another great opportunity that we are better prepared for now than we ever have been, as far as with our transportation plan and the work that Keith has been doing. I'm certain it's going to be even more of a challenge now as we think about where even 20% local match can come from. But good to still see those opportunities out there and for us to be ready if we so choose to take advantage of them. Second item is we are going through the 2050 Metro Vision Regional Transportation Plan. We're in the phase of data gathering and research. They did some significant modeling on comparing transportation planning and land use planning. And the outcome of that research obviously shows that one element alone, so transportation planning alone, does not get the desired results of decreasing vehicle miles traveled and a number of hours delayed. So what's critical of that output is the degree to which some of those metrics changed when you combine transportation planning and land use planning. So again, good on our part that we are doing the same. So we can leverage some of those data points as well as we model out our decision making. So those are the two updates from Dr. Cog.
Great, thank you very much. City Manager, do you have any comment about the boards and commissions when they'll resume?
Yeah, we sent council an update on Friday here. It looks like we're going to be proceeding here for the month of April with the Planning Commission and the Historic Preservation Board. And so we're in a process now of contacting the board members and arranging similar circumstances that council is experiencing right now with a virtual meeting here. Beyond that, we've just decided that in the interest here of the COVID-19 issue, that we're going to take the rest of the boards and commissions and put them off here till probably at least May.
Great, thank you very much. Councilmember Driscoll.
No report.
Great. Councilmember Fay.
No report.
Councilmember Grove.
Yes, I have a report from the South Suburban Board meeting. And as you know, they have elections coming up in early May, and they're working to get people to get absentee ballots. Supposedly, they began mailing them yesterday. So if you haven't received them, they were having a little bit of a printing issue because of the requirement for printing companies. They will not cancel the elections. They will not cancel them unless all the candidates drop out or the state changes the rules on that. And so far, that hasn't happened. As of 2 weeks ago, which may change when we go to the meeting tomorrow night, they're going to have one walk-in polling place at Goodson. And I think there's a way you can actually pick up an absentee ballot and put it in. If you have judges,
Pam, if you could lean forward just a little bit.
they do have 5 judges all in place. And if anybody listening wants to get a ballot or find out more about candidates, they can go to https://sprd.org/board election. And that, if you don't have an absentee ballot and are already signed up, you can get it there. They've been working, like us, dealing with the fallout of COVID. As you, many of you know, they've closed facilities to the public to promote social distancing. There were some issues about closing the bathrooms, opening the bathrooms. At this point, I think they're open, but that changed. Hudson Gardens has canceled their concerts through the rest of the year. And they are trying to keep in mind how best to prepare for when it's time to reopen. They are continuing with some construction projects. One of them is the bubble at the Littleton Golf and Tennis, and this comes out of their capital fund. So it's not something that can be used for something else. So there will be another meeting tomorrow night, and I bet you things will. That's it.
Great. Well, thank you very much for the update. All right, Council Member Millman.
Hi, I don't really have a report to share, but I just wanted to let everybody know, if for those of you that don't know, I was involved in a car accident on February 23rd, and I've been sort of a little bit out of commission and healing and still healing from that. And so I want to thank everybody, council, staff, friends, citizens that reached out to share kind words. That was really sweet. And I thank you for that really deeply. And I just wanted to say, I wanted to give a big round of applause for our city staff for the amazing work that they're doing right now. It's such a difficult time. I am every day continually impressed with their level of professionalism, their teamwork, their upbeat spirit. I mean, I am so thankful that we have this staff leading our city right now. And I would just share this too with anybody that's listening. Please support our local restaurants by trying to eat out at least twice a week or taking takeout twice a week for any restaurants, or even you can get takeout beer from any of the establishments within the city of Littleton boundary. Thanks.
Great, thank you, and welcome back, and speedy recovery, of course.
Thank you.
Yes, do hit the restaurants. All right, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. I simply want to say that I'm proud of how our community is choosing to respond to these hard times with a real focus on being neighborly and checking in with and looking out for those around us, with empathy for those who've become sick or jobless, and with a serious recognition that we all have an important role to play in slowing the spread of this ferocious virus through proper social distancing, sheltering in place, hand washing, etc., and the patience to do those things consistently day after day. I'm grateful that Littleton is my home. Please stay optimistic, everyone. Look out for one another and be well.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. And I think we all have that same feeling about how people are responding in our city. And please keep everybody safe out there. For me, I do have a few items I want to bring up. Our study set, we do have a study session next week. That's April 14, and it'll likely be it will be a virtual meeting. So we'll start to get this down pretty soon, I think. April 21st, we do have a regular meeting, which will also be virtual. Let's see, then April 28th, we have a study session that has been canceled, but leave your calendar open because I think the city manager may have some stuff that we need to add to that study session. But at this time, we don't have anything on it. So Next on the agenda item is our citizens' appearance, of which we have none. So we're going to move right in to the public comments. And I would like to open the public comments at time is 6:50. And if the assistant to the city manager, if you could please review the process for us.
Thank you, Mayor. If you wish to address City Council under public comment, please press *9 to be recognized. Citizen microphones will be automatically muted until the citizen is called upon to speak by the last 4 digits of their phone number. Please state your name and district or address clearly for the record. As a reminder, the clerk will notify you when you have 30 seconds remaining and again when your time is up. Public comment is an opportunity to express opinions or ask questions regarding issues that are not part of public hearings on tonight's agenda. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. The city clerk will notify you when you have 30 seconds remaining and again when your time is up. The City Council is not authorized by the Colorado Open Meetings Law to discuss, comment, or take action at the meeting on any issue raised by public comment that is not part of tonight's agenda. The mayor may refer the matter to the city manager and/or city attorney for immediate comment after public comment, or to staff to obtain additional information and report back to the council as appropriate. We expect comments to be civil. Disrespectful or disruptive behavior will not be tolerated. Mayor, we currently have 0 participants in the queue.
Well, if we have none, then we're just going to move on. So with that, then I will close the public comments at 6:51 p.m. All right, city manager and city attorney, anything else you want to add to any comments?
Nothing, Mayor, on my end.
Nothing? Okay.
You know, the only update I would give is I shared with council over the weekend, Ken Fellman, who's been city attorney for the city of Littleton a number of times and has filled in over the years. He's been stuck on a cruise line for a number of weeks, and I'm happy to say that he has made it home to Denver today.
Ah, good.
Yay.
Good.
That's good.
Good. What a nightmare for a lot of folks out there. Thank you for sharing that information with us. A lot of people know Mr. Bowman. Okay, we're going to move into our item number 6, the consent agenda item. And Assistant City Manager, please.
Thank you. Consent agenda items can be adopted by a simple motion. All ordinances must be read by title prior to a vote on the motion. Any consent agenda item may be removed at the request of a council member.
Great, thank you very much. And Mayor Pro Tem, if you go ahead and please read the consent agenda items for us.
Sure, Mayor. Resolution 24-2020, approving the contract amendment for the Unified Land Use Code project in accordance with the 2020 budget proviso under policy question 1. D, ordinance 16-2020, an ordinance on first reading, amending chapter 3 of title 3 of the Littleton Municipal Code regarding special events and demonstrations. C, ordinance 15-2020, an ordinance on first reading approving a 5-year lease with Pitney Bowes to provide a postage meter and related services to the city. D, ID 20-082, motion to amend council liaison assignments, appointing council member Grove as council liaison to the Douglas County Transportation Forum and to the Jefferson County Transportation Forum. E, ID 20-085, approval of the March 3rd, 2020 regular meeting minutes. F, ID 20-096, approval of the March 20th, 2020 special meeting minutes.
Council, if I could have a motion, please.
I move to approve ordinances A through F.
Thank you. We have a second?
Second.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Did you get that, Colleen? We have Mr. Driscoll and Councilmember Elrod was the second. Okay. So just a reminder, a yes vote is to approve, and that'll be the thumbs up, and a no is the thumbs down. So keep them up. So Council, if you'll please vote.
The vote is 7 in favor. The motion carries unanimously.
Great, thank you very much. We have no items under general business tonight. We do have 3 second readings tonight under item 8. So what I would like to do now, I would like Councilmember Elrod, if you will please read all 3 of the ordinances back to back. And just for the audience, so that they know, there's only going to be one presentation tonight by staff. It's going to cover all three of the items. And then we would have one opportunity for the public comment at just one time that will address all three of the items. So at this point, I think we are at city staff has a presentation for us. No, I'm sorry. First, if Council Member Elrod, if you would please read the three ordinances.
Okay, so we have ordinance 09-2020. This is an ordinance on second reading, amending ordinance number 25 series of 2019, known as the annual appropriation bill. Ordinance 10-2020, an ordinance on second reading, amending the 2020 Littleton Sewer Utility Enterprise Budget. Ordinance 11-2020, an ordinance on second reading, amended the 2020 Littleton Stormwater and Flood Management Utility Enterprise Budget.
Thank you, Council Member. And now we have a staff presentation. But first, the assistant to the city manager, if you could please remind everybody of the callers. Do we have any callers, first of all?
Thank you. Citizens wishing to speak during this public hearing should press *9 to raise their hand and be recognized. Speakers will have 3 minutes to address council on this topic after the staff presentation.
And do we have any calls tonight?
There are no calls at the moment, but we'll see if any come in during the staff presentation.
Okay, so let's go right into our staff presentation, please.
Good evening, Council. I am going to bring up the presentation. All right.
There we go.
There we go. Yay. All right. Good evening, Council. Before you tonight, you have three ordinances, Ordinance 9, 10, and 11, and I'm going to be briefly going over those this evening. So the policy questions you have before you are, does Council support amending the 2020 annual appropriation for the carryover of the 2019 encumbered funds, and also amending the sewer utility budget, and also amending the stormwater flood management utility enterprise for the encumbered funds as well. A little bit of background is, one, we did talk about this at a study session on February 18th. We talked in depth about the individual encumbrances that we're carrying over, and it was on first reading on March 3rd. And every year, the city issues purchase orders to encumber funds for projects and goods or services throughout the year. And these projects are not always able to be completed or spent in that fiscal year in which they began. And so at the end of the year, this leaves an open purchase order or an encumbrance that we want to carry over into the following year. I do want to note that this action is to appropriate these funds, but I want you to know that staff will certainly be managing any of these expenditures related to these projects or services to truly determine and understand the need for that in light of the COVID issues that we're facing currently. So I just want you to know that staff is definitely looking at the necessity of any of these encumbrances. So for the staff analysis, we did talk about this previously, but in total, we're requesting $7.5 million roughly. For the general fund, the impact is about $1.5 million. And I'll just remind you on the other funds, they are for specific purposes, and we can only use the funds for those projects from these individual funding sources. So in total, it's about $7.5 million. And again, this is just to appropriate the funds. And as I mentioned, we will certainly be reviewing these, making any adjustments that we need to in light of what's the financial issues that we're facing currently. I will say there's adequate fund balance for these amendments. That hasn't changed. So there is available funds there. So staff is recommending approval of all three ordinances to amend the appropriations. And again, I just want to emphasize we are managing all of these expenses related to these projects and services. very short. So with that, if you have any questions, I'd certainly be happy to answer those.
Great. Thank you very much, Tiffany. Council, do you have any questions?
I do.
Councilman Arond.
Tiffany, you talk about having adequate fund balances. At what point in time is that statement or conclusion being made? Is it when this was brought forward to us maybe a month ago, or have you reevaluated maybe looking a month ahead?
So I would say that, yes, absolutely. A month ago, we were evaluating, and there certainly is enough fund balance. There is enough fund balance today. And I think we're just looking at everything as a whole. We're looking towards current expenditures that we have planned. We're looking at future years and estimates and what impacts we might have there. But I will say that, the purpose of a purchase order or an encumbrance is a project that's already been started or is in full force, or we may have already ordered items. And so these are things that we may not be able to stop or cancel at this time, which is kind of the essence of a purchase order. But we are definitely looking at things that we have currently to see if there are any ways that we can reduce it, maybe change the direction headed. But those are things we are looking at.
And so my follow-up question is, of the 7.5 million, do you feel, what percentage of these are already in flight that, we shouldn't, it would not be in our best interest to retract from?
I would say, looking at the items on the list, probably 90 to 95% of them.
Wow. Okay.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Right. Any other council members? Great. City Manager, do you have anything you want to add to that?
No, Mayor, not really. I think Tiffany, our finance director, kind of hit the high point there. These are projects that have largely been in motion here. So this is just a kind of a formality here that the council needs to make sure we appropriate and carry over the money from last year.
Thank you very much. All right. And so at this time, I would like to open up the public comment. It is 7:02. And I think the assistant city manager already gave us the guidelines for what we're going by there. Do we have anybody on the line?
Mayor, we have no one on the line.
Okay, with that, we will close the public comment at 7:02. And council, we're going to vote on the three individually. So first, I'm looking for ordinance 09-2020. I'm looking for a motion.
Mayor, I move. I will read them. Mayor, I have a motion to approve. You want me to read one at a time?
We're only doing one, and
Okay.
that's ordinance 09-2020. I'm looking for a motion to approve or not approve.
Motion. I make a motion to approve ordinance number 09-2020. Ordinance number second reading, amending ordinance number 25, series of 2019, known as the annual appropriation bill.
Great, thank you very much. All right, we have a second from Councilmember Milliman. Okay, council, a yes vote is to approve, and a no vote is a thumbs down. So a yes vote is a thumbs up. Go ahead and vote. Okay.
The vote is 7 in favor. The motion carries unanimously.
Thank you very much. Okay, council, moving on to the second item, which is ordinance 10-2020. I am looking for a motion. Is Pam trying to say something there?
Pam, you gotta unmute.
Pam, Pam, you're on mute. If you're
Sorry.
Were you making a motion?
I'm making a motion.
Oh, please.
I move to approve the ordinance on second reading, amending the 2020 Littleton Sewer Utility Enterprise Budget.
Okay.
Second.
All right, we have a motion, a second by Mayor Pro Tem. Okay, council, a yes vote is to approve, no vote is against. Thumbs up. Karina?
Karina, I
Oh, I
need a
think-
vote.
I think
I
she's
think the
frozen.
video froze.
Do we want to
All
wait a
right.
minute?
Well, let's go ahead and take the count right now. We have one that's just unable to get through.
Okay, the vote is 6 in favor. The motion carries.
Can she use her chat feature?
We don't use the chat feature on this.
Okay, well, hopefully we didn't lose. We may have lost her. I'm going to move on to the third item, which is ordinance number 11. Let's see, is this the third one? Yes, the 11-2020. I'm looking for a motion.
I motion to approve ordinance 11-2020, an ordinance on second reading amending the 2020 Littleton Stormwater and Flood Management Utility Enterprise Budget.
Great, we got a motion. We have a second?
Second.
Great. Okay, Councilmember Grove was the second on that, and I'm kind of waiting a minute here to see if Councilmember Elrod makes it back. It doesn't appear to be that she's going to get back to us. So a yes vote is a thumbs up and a no is a thumbs down. Ready to vote?
The vote is 6 in favor. The motion carries.
Great. And for the record, the last two votes, Councilmember Elrod, we lost her connection. Council, with no additional business, this meeting is adjourned at 7:06.
Wow.